DG Caps, AVM Golani, Major General Arora, Chief Editor of IMR, I think he's gone inside. Chief Marshal Badoria, Marshal Dikshit, Sisk, Lieutenant General Nambiar, DG Army Aviation, all the esteemed senior veterans from the three services, distinguished member of the academia and aerospace industry, officers of the friendly foreign countries, friends from the media, colleagues from the three services in uniform with me today, students, ladies and gentlemen. Very happy to be here, and I think the very relevant topic that has been selected by CAPS and IMR for this seminar. I wanted to be, I was refusing to speak in the beginning. I thought, I will speak something at the end, have the last word. But I think in today's world, when everything is available, I even see the exact statement that I've written down have been spoken by some people. So I don't have anything new to say. First of all, this introduction, she was about to introduce me. So I realized that she's introducing every speaker. So I think if after 41 years of service and almost 2 years in this post and at the end of my career, if I need an introduction, I think that will not be right. So that is why I told that, please don't introduce me, at least if people don't know me, they need to go and read up. This topic, the drones and the UAS systems and counter-UAS system, I think everybody has spoken. It is very relevant. It's there today. It is a reality. It is not something for the future. So there is no denying that battlefield has shifted. We are shifting totally from those very, concentrated air power to a sort of decentralized and autonomous way. And one thing we must understand, of course, these drones, the counter-UAS system or the unmanned aerial system that we're talking about, are an extension of air power. Why are they succeeding is because they have all the intrinsic qualities of air power, and that has to be understood. And of course, there is reduced risk in terms of human lives in operation, and the reduced cost that is making it very attractive. I will just touch upon 2-3 points because I said whatever points I had written down have already been spoken, and I think if I can say, Dikshit has spent really good time on the topic and covered it from all perspectives. Not that the others didn't, but I think they left something for Dikshit to cover, so he's done it well. I don't think there's anything left for me to add to, but I'll just concentrate on a few things and reiterate some points. First, of course, is that, like I said, it is an extension of air power. So all the rules of air power will apply when you use the UAS systems. Just remember that. And they are no more eye in the sky. They are like claws in the sky now. We have seen it in the recent conflicts that have taken place, and we also realized during Op Sindoor, and this part cannot be forgotten. And second, when we talk about counter-UAS, it is, like I say every time, it is a cat and mouse game. You develop technology in one field, the counter technology has to develop along with that, because that is how the game can be played. Otherwise, one side will have total advantage. So you can't have always force versus force. It has to be force versus defense and other way around. So this part, in Op Sindoor, it was mentioned by Dikshit also. I think we've done reasonably well in Op Sindoor. And why that happened? Because there was coordination. Without coordination, without central, agency coordinating it, without having that IACCS system becoming a nerve center, whether it is counter-UAS or counter-weapon or counter-aircraft, it wouldn't have been possible. So we were successful. We were successful that none of their weapon systems landed up on target. None of their UAS systems landed up on target is because we were operating in a manner that is the way to go. And the way we have organized that time, I am very certain that more and more structured, we are making it more structured now so that there is no individualities coming in. There is no one person trying to go astray and say, nahi, aise nahi karenge. So that part is being controlled. We have structures in place so that every time we are able to counter these in that manner. And they cannot be, in any modern aerial threat, total domain awareness is the key. And that is what he spoke about. We have seen what happens in terms of, if you don't have domain awareness, you don't know where your people are and where others are. We've seen what happened to F-15s in Kuwait, the factory side part. So we cannot afford to have things like that. We will have all three services operating in the same airspace. There has to be total coordination, and I'm happy to state that there is already existing structures, and we are strengthening those structures even further. Also, it was said that site that learns fast and innovates and incorporates everything, all the technology in their own strategy and tactics, will be the better site. There is no denying that. There was mention about low-cost attack and high-cost defense. That means, using, we've been hearing it, using a $1 million missile for a few hundred or few $1,000 drones. My take on that is slightly different. Yes, we need to scale up. To scale up any system, if we have to scale up our counter-UAS systems, we need to make it low cost, because if the attacking systems can be scaled up because of their low cost and numbers can be in thousands, obviously I need to have something that I can afford. But the cost is not of the weapon system that is coming to hit. It is the cost of the system that it is going to hit. What is the target? And sometimes the target may be such that there is no thinking about cost that time. So it is the damage that that system can do is what we have to see. And based on that will be what we use to kill it. So I think that is where we need to have a rethink, because every time we talk about that there are low-cost drones and very high-cost counters that we are using. And we have used some high-cost options during Off-Sindoor also. We also talked about, the debate between manned and unmanned. I am in full agreement with what Dikshit said. The time is for collaboration. It is, the future is manned and unmanned teaming, using both the options together. You can't take man out of the loop. You may not have man in the loop, maybe have man on the loop, but it cannot be out of the loop totally. I don't think in near future, in next decade or so, I don't think so we are in that stage. Another part which I want to, of course, if it was only, counter-UAS systems, or sorry, I'm using this wrong term, UAS systems only, unmanned, if we were to progress towards that side, then all the other design houses, they won't be, spending money, time, energy towards their 6th gen fighter and future fighter programs. Manned. All of them are manned. The battlefield survivability of UAS systems is concerned still. We need to think about that part, how to make our UAS system survive in battle. Because I'm not talking about every UAS system, but most of the ones which can deliver a good payload or which can give you a good capability in ISR and all are very vulnerable. We have seen it in the recent wars. US has lost a large number of them. Of course, the numbers are not out, but it's a fact. And that will happen. And so while some of these systems will be good for situation building, awareness, essay building in the days to war, but during war may not be of use unless we make some changes and we design differently. One more point, we have been talking about unmanned area systems all the time, but we have not talked about unmanned systems in other domains. I think Dikshit mentioned about it, that finally we are moving towards robotic war, where there will be robots fighting the war because the human cost factor coming in. So human life cannot be, costed. So everybody is working towards that, and we should start thinking about that part. There are, robots coming in. There are unmanned vessels in the sea. We have seen those unmanned mules, those robotic mules, or some other robots using the guns and firing. So those progress is taking place, but we need to start progressing it further. Policy makers, an important part which was touched, because till we have the correct policies in place, we will find it difficult to fight this war, especially of UAS, because UAS is coming up in a big way in everybody's life, in civil as well as in military domain. So if you don't have regulations in place, again, it will become very difficult to differentiate between friend and foe. It will become very difficult to operate in an environment which has everybody flying together. As far as need for, the call to the industry and to academia that was made, there is a need to innovate at the speed of relevance. We can't be innovating or doing R&D at our own pace. We need to increase the speed, because the system has to come in before it becomes irrelevant. So while we build the systems of today, we must be doing research and development on systems of tomorrow. We should be able to think where what technology is going, what is the possibility, and that can only happen if we all work together. I think that also has been brought out very nicely by CISC, that it has to be a whole of nation approach. It has to be everybody's work together. People in uniform, the users, and the developers and the manufacturers. All three have to work together, decide on the route, decide on timelines, and meet those timelines. The scalability after that, so that we have the capacity. So it is not just capability and capacity. What I'm asking for is commitment, which is very important. Commitment for each and every Indian. And I think it is time to collaborate also, another C. The like-minded nations, the companies from abroad, doesn't matter. We collaborate with them to increase the capacity in India. But yes, it is very important to have systems being produced indigenously. And when I say systems, means each and every component of that system. We should not have our reliance on or our dependency on some other nation for some critical systems. So we need to manufacture each and every component, design and manufacture. If not design, initially just manufacture. But everything in India, so that we can be very sure that when required, it can be scaled up. Modular approach, because we need to think of innovative ways of using these systems. Today we are using them in some way, tomorrow maybe some other. So if that is the case, then we should have modular approach, that the same design can be adapted to various roles. And that is how we can build up our capacity. Of course, miniaturizing the payloads, stealth technology, engines, increasing the standoff ranges, all this is something that is required for tomorrow's war. So, all these points that I've covered have already been covered. I just thought that these are the places where I can maybe reiterate some points. We need to make sure that finally we achieve the economy. Yes, the systems that are produced need to be low cost, reasonably costed, whatever so that we can afford large numbers of them. within our own budgets. And innovative ways of using different systems, like he talked about laser weapons, and we have those high power transmissions which kill the UAV. So we need to have approach which is multi-dimensional. We need to go on multiple paths to finally reach at our destination. So I think there is no denying the fact that the unmanned systems are the future. Whether they will work alone in some domains, whether they will work together with manned system in some domain, whether they will be not useful in certain stages of war and useful in certain stages of war, that will keep evolving. We will have to keep studying and adapting ourselves. There is no denying the fact that there is, the way we, if we don't support the R&D organizations, the private sector, the industry now, then again we will land up with some product which will not be fully utilizable by us. We need to have our own CONOPS very clear and the product developed according to our CONOPS. And we need to work together as a team to reach the right destination. And time is the most important factor in this. And I would rather say, because I've been guilty of this, sometimes it is good to have maybe 85-90% capability of the system, but in time, then wait for that 100% and delay it beyond its relevance. So we need to all think about that. I'm talking about people in uniform. So my compliments again to CAPS and IMR for organizing this, and thank you very much for being a patient listener. I see sort of, Dixit mentioned it, so many senior officers here whom I've worked with and who've been my CO, AOC and CNC's chiefs. So it is a little awkward for me to stand here and speak, but it is a job given to me, so I come here every time and say something. I have nothing new to say in any case. Thank you. Jai Hind.